Hi, my name is George Dahl, and welcome to my film journal. And today we're talking about another slasher film, Tony Maylam's The Burning. The Burning. I covered up the title.
All right. We're gonna go on, so you gotta get ready to hold on. All right.
This film starts out with yet another contrived sort of a slasher plot. I don't know why they insisted, especially after the motivation for the shape just being pure evil. It works so well that they think, no, the killer needs a motivation, and it must be a prank that's gone horribly awry. Now again, like in a film like Terror Train, which I talked about last time, the prank that kicks off the ire of the killer is completely unorthodox and crazy. So we see initially in the sort of prologue to the film, Cropsy, the weird Carney-esque groundskeeper of a summer camp, who we learn is a really mean and terrible guy, is sleeping. And so a bunch of boys get together and they set a skull with like dirt and worms on fire in his bedroom. I don't know where they got a dirty skull with worms. This is really kind of the dumbest part of the movie. And they set it in Cropsy's room. He's going to get up and be scared. I'm sure they could have put, a dead possum or anything else in there. I don't know why it had to be so obscure. A dirty worm head. It seems strange. Anyway, Cropsy freaks out. They put a burning flame in his small room next to a can of kerosene, and Cropsy freaks out. He drops the skull on his legs. He burns alive, and the kids swear never to tell. Cropsy needs his revenge, and after he gets out of the hospital, he comes after just another random group of kids and decides to start killing again as revenge for his horrible, horrible burns. The film has really an excellent cast. Unlike the stereotypical slasher film, there really are characters to get behind and like in this. That we see Jason Alexander in one of his early performances. Holly Hunter is touted at the back of the DVD as being her first film, but I don't even think she has any lines. However, Jason Alexander, he really is the standout of the movie. He's got hair, and while not all of his jokes land and some of them are a little cheesy, it's nice to have his presence.
Whoa! He's under, he's up. He's in there, all right. Who ordered the Playboy?
Over here. Dave, did you get my Hustler?
Hustler? What are you on with Hustler, Woodstock? You're too small.
Hey, size never stopped, Woody. That's the world bantamweight jerk-off champ over there, huh? Just stick with me, kid. Keep flexing the muscle, huh?
We get Brian Matthews here. I think this was pre-Fast Times at Ridgemont High, and he's a really enjoyable character, and there's a little bit of pathos to him, and, he has a little bit of a character arc. He has a character arc, man. When was the last time you saw that in a slasher film? Never. Leah Ayres and Brian Backer are here. They're sort of young soap opera actors, and they play sort of a matriarchal and patriarchal figures who sort of are a steward over the camp. And there's another character who's sort of a bully, and there's a lot of, romantic, little romantic triangles going on. And overall, you care about these characters and like them. I mean, you could have made this a summer camp movie on par with something like Meatballs. Obviously, it's not as outrageous, but it's pretty funny, and we get some good, camp shenanigans and pranks, and, spying on girls in the shower, etc., etc. A lot of fun camp stuff, and for a while you forget, oh, that's right, there's Cropsy. He's in the woods, waiting. And we get a lot of POV shots of Cropsy sneaking around, and for the most part, the film is really beautifully shot. I'm thinking of scenes when our inspecting campers are going off on a trip away from the camp to go camping, and they canoe down the river. They're going off on a little excursion, and you can tell it's about to get good. And actually, when the kills come, they are pretty brutal. The famous Tom Savini, right off his work in Friday the 13th, Part 1, is here to bring Cropsy to life, and also to illustrate some of the most bloody scenes of murder in any of these horror films. I don't like calling them kills. I don't like that. It's strange. I watched some of these other videos and guys are like, yeah, there's some great kills in the movie. It seems a little bizarre. I appreciate them, of course, from a technical standpoint. And when the sort of villainous jerk character gets a pair of shears to the neck and he gets stuck to a tree, it is something to behold.
Well, it was just a matter of finding a welder that could weld the arrow, Steve Martin arrow through the head gag on a set of shears. So you'd see them coming out the back of his neck and going in the front, I think he had an appliance on too, and it was underneath that. And then actually I was able to slam him against the tree and have the shears sticking at the back actually sticking to the tree, you know. And then he gargles a while, and we pull out the fake ones. Then we do a separate angle of him falling away.
As well as the infamous raft sequence in the movie, in which Cropsey takes out four or five kids all in one go. Which is really, I mean, that was really a pretty ballsy move, because before we're used to conserving our gore and having somebody sneak around, pick people off one by one. So to see such a brazen scene of violence, I mean, it was pretty intense. And there's a great interview with the editor that's included on the Shout Factory DVD, which I have to say, and I have to say the DVD is probably one of my favorites. The artwork, flip side and newly created, are both excellent, and there's a lot of great special features here. And the Blu-ray transfer, I mean, looks really, really good. This is a solid film. I would really recommend it. The other thing too is, I mean, you're really pulling for these characters to survive and not die. And you're happy at the end when very few of them end up dying and a lot of them do survive. There's some good scares in here. The end action scene is a solid climax. One thing I really wish that these Shout Factory films had was an audio commentary, because sometimes I really do like to go back and rewatch these films again. But if you're doing a movie night with your friends, you want to put on a solid, scary horror movie that's a little cheesy, it's got that 80s vibe you're looking for, and it's also funny, and there's some just really standout gore sequences. You know, check out The Burning. There's also a great interview with Thomas Savini on the disc, in which he talks about how he's got some great behind-the-scenes footage that he saved from his own collection that they use in the interview. And apparently, the burning legs of Cropsey in the opening scene are Savini's legs. He frosted himself up with fire retardant gel and dumped gasoline and burned himself, and that was that. I mean, the guy is really, really a master, and in this film, it's kind of fun to see. He talks in detail about how he achieved all the effects, because sometimes, and I'm talking about shears to the neck stuck to a tree, I'm like, how did they pull that off? I mean, no dummy. I mean, it was good stuff. You know, really, if you're into prosthetic makeup effects, this is definitely a film to check out. Leah Ayres, the actress, also gives a great interview on the DVD, and we get some background into the idea that this is the Weinstein brothers' first picture, and it's not really surprising when you think about it. And the horribly burned, mangled, loopy version of Cropsey actually bears a certain resemblance to Harvey Weinstein. Good thing he never got his hands on Leah Ayres in the film. But it's kind of interesting. It's kind of inspiring, and again, historically too, it's interesting. I had not known that the Weinsteins started out as concert promoters, and then they branched out and did work with film. And this is The Burning is their first movie. This is really quality. The Blu-ray transfer is great. The story is good. You know, the little stories, the interpersonal stories between the characters are great. You do care about the plight of the characters. I mean, it's simple, and the writing is not great, but boy, what a treasure trove of great actors to be in a slasher. So, a lot of charisma, a lot of fun. I definitely recommend The Burning.